So we've basically offloaded all our stuff. You can see everything there, boards, DC boards. This is hydraulic 175 amp DC breaker. That battery bank in there did not have a breaker, so you can see, AC boxes, proper stuff. Good. So we're busy at work ripping everything down, taking everything off, and starting from scratch. Okay. We've set solar recharge cables down that way. Proper 4mm solar DC cables from the roof in 10 strings, not one string, 10 strings. Good. Although actually we did run 2 extra strings to make it a total of 12, so for future expansion, buying extra panels, we wouldn't have to run any wiring. All 4 boards were up in no time and in an L-shaped configuration. We also then went on to mount the trunking underneath the boards in a T-shape coming from the roof down to run all our cabling, both the DC cables from the roof as well as our AC cables from the inverter to supply the house. In no time we were able to mount the DC boxes as well, all 4 of them in unison and in line with each other, because as you know, the aesthetics are also very important when it comes to doing installations and having a sense of professionalism in what one does. With regards to the cables on the roof, you can see all the horrible electrical grid cabling that they used to hardwire solar panels all the way down to the power room. We got rid of all of them and we lay our own genuine 4mm solar cables. At the end of the building, where there was a protrusion of solar panels, we have sort of gotten rid of that, and it's all now within the bounds of the roof and no longer affected by winds and things like that, and looks a lot better. So, this is the youngest member of our team. What's your name? Abdurrahman. How are you? Are you happy to be helping your dad out today? Oh, okay. He's absolutely delighted to be working for his dad on the day, and that's the proud dad there. Anyway, so we're working on the AC cabling to power the house. The difference here between the 2.5mm cabling used before and 10mm cabling we are using now. That, it's just, you can see the difference. So we're replacing all this rubbish with proper 10mm cable, which we've prepared. 9 cables in here to run the 2 inverters. So while work is carrying on in the power room, it will be good to take a look at all the other things that we did at this property to bring this installation up to scratch. The first thing would be the ventilation. Next up is the lightning protection system, which we did 2 lightning electrodes on either side of the roof because of a range of 15 to 20 feet. And you can see the thick copper cabling going straight into the ground, into a mat in the ground. Also, you can also see the main ground electrode having been inserted into the ground there. You can see on one side to the other that there are 2 lightning electrodes from side to side to protect the entire premises from lightning strikes, and they are connected by thick copper piping between each other, and that goes all the way into the ground as shown on the side of the house before. On to grounding. we put in another main grounding electrode next to the power room to send a thick 16mm grounding cable to the power room. We've also connected it to the main house. The main distribution board of the house has also been changed to a much more modern distribution board. The circuit selection has already been done, and you can see the breakers inside, including the main breaker. It's nice and plumb, and it's a much better piece of equipment than what was there before, and it means that all circuits are fused properly. Meanwhile, back in the power room, progress has been made. Now beginning to select the cables coming from the roof in terms of matching the pairs and determining what's positive and what's negative. And we'll be putting in a smoke alarm shortly. Meanwhile, on the roof, we have 12 strings that we have now sent down to the powerhouse, and all those strings, as you can see, are going to be wrapped up so that they're not exposed and protected from the elements. And you can see the smoke alarm has gone in, and return cables are now coming down and have now been put appropriately into the combiner boxes in which they belong. So we can finally now start thinking about working on these AC boxes and then moving on to the actual wiring of the inverters through this trunk into that box there. So that's the next step we're at. There's still the charge controllers to put in. Things are at an advanced stage now, with all the wirings off and going. We've got an earth box there, where all the grounding meets and then sends down to the main earth conductor through there into the ground at the back. So we've basically now got to the battery stage, and the two banks have now been connected with that thick connector there. So now we have 48 volt battery bank instead of two 24 volts. A closer look at the batteries actually shows that they are 1000 amp hour batteries at 2 volts each. They are the tubular gel type sealed batteries. So there's a 1000 amp hour 48 volt battery bank. We've been hard at work all day. All the boxes are mounted. The inverters are in. Both inverters are 7.5 kVA each. And this is earthing of cables all there. From all the boxes, inverters, surge RSs, all the earthing is in that box which are covering off. Inverters 7.5 kVA each, both working on nicely. And with regards to the grid cables, this thing has now been finally sorted out. We've unpicked all the wires, as you can see there, and actually matched the cables from the inverters to the 3 phases on the armored cable, as well as with the grounding cable, and we have sent that all the way down to the main grounding conductor and covered it nicely in this enclosure box that works quite seamlessly with the trunking. Beautiful installation, 2 AC boxes for 2 inverters, currently up and running. The 2 white boxes you can also see are for the battery bus bars, positive on the left, negative on the right. So what we're going to do is return in the morning to put charge controllers there, there, and there. All the cabling has already been done, so it's just to get the charge controllers on and hooked in, because we've already cabled up and closed up. So this is good stuff. Right, YouTube, that's enough for the day. I'm absolutely tired. The boys are absolutely tired. Alright, we'll see you in the morning. So, here it is. You can see all 3 lights are on. This is properly earthed. The whole house is properly grounded. On the second day, nice and early, we had very little to do. It was just a case of mounting the charge controllers, 1 out back and 3 of our own charge controllers, and that was all of the work that had to be done on the second day. We obviously spent some time testing the system, making sure everything worked absolutely perfectly, which they did. And the boys were quite pleased with the outcome of this installation. It is very comprehensive, very safe, very within limits, as well as being aesthetically pleasing, as you can see. Unfortunately, you can't see the photograph of the battery breakers further down that picture, but you can see the battery bus bars, the 2 boxes ahead, both positive and negative. Just a very comprehensive installation, using genuine components, good design, within tolerances and maximums of equipment, so that things just work like clockwork. So the 2 7.5 kVA inverters, 1000 amp hour 48 volt battery bank, and supplying this house of all the circuits, air conditioning, you name it. We're quite pleased with this installation, to be honest, and so was the homeowner. On the roof, yes, we made some changes as well. We got rid of the overhang, set the panels much more securely onto the roof, used genuine cabling instead of rubbish wiring, and the results are going to be there for decades. The inverters now have appropriate breakers. Safety is paramount. So to recap, we've done the crazy wiring and sorted it out and put it in an electrical enclosure box. We've replaced 2.5 millimeter cabling criminally used on a 24 volt system with 10 millimeter electrical cables. We have taken off a system with no breakers or fusing and put proper interruptions in. We have gotten rid of the roof overhang, and it looks a lot better without the overhang. And just generally speaking, the whole power room now is a lot safer. It's got a proper design to it, lots of interruptions, lots of safety. We've changed the distribution box for a much more modern type that has lots of fusing inside. And as you can see, whereas there was no earthing, no grounding in the house, we now have proper grounding without issue. We have taken down the 1 or 2 strings that were ran before for 9 kilowatts panel array. A whole 9 kilowatts, we have put 12 strings in. The inverters, we have taken away the 24 volt inverters and put in 48 volt systems, since we're talking of lots of power. So that's the video. Keep subscribing, keep liking our videos. Anyway, that's it, YouTube. Over and out. Thank you.